Good evening, everyone. We have a swearing in of the members of the Board of Equalization and Appeals. Is that Bob? Is that your responsibility tonight? All right. Want us to stand or?
Yes.
Okay.
You'd all stand.
All right.
Sandra, please come forward. Yes. Well, I've done this for quite a number of years, and I'm honored tonight to see that we hopefully have come through the COVID. I think your second meeting with all the commissioners in the commissioners room, and I think that's a very positive sign to all of us and the public. And also, I'm very pleased to work with the interim assessor, John. It's not a new relationship. We've been working together for some time. He is recognized in the county for the work that he's doing. He received several compliments from St. Charles on work there. And so I think that this is just an absolutely grand opportunity that we're having to work together. So this evening, I'm going to introduce or lead you and do the swearing in of the members of the Board of Equalization. And we'll start with your right hand, please. And we'll have each of you say aye and your title, which for 5 will be County Commissioner. We'll start with Marie.
Aye, County Commissioner.
And your name, please.
Marie Kavesi.
Aye, County Commissioner Chris Meyer.
Aye, County Commissioner Marcia Ward.
Aye, County Commissioner Greg Olson.
Aye, Steve Jacob, County Commissioner.
And the 6th member of our Equalization Board is the County Auditor. All right. And then repeat after me, please. Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear
That I will support.
that I will support
The Constitution.
the Constitution
Of the United States of America.
of the United States of America,
The Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
And that I will faithfully perform.
and that I will faithfully perform
The duties of the Equalization Board.
the duties of the Equalization Board
Of Winona County, Minnesota.
of Winona County, Minnesota,
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Now then administer the oath.
All right.
And I suspect you'll have a good meeting tonight. I took a short break and hit 4 green lights in a row. And that happens probably twice in my lifetime. So it's got to be a good sign. Thank you.
No trains. And I saw an extremely long train down by Homer. All right, we need to elect a meeting chair and secretary. So are there nominations for chair of the Board of Appeal and Equalization?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Meyer.
interim chair, I don't know, I
Yeah.
would nominate Marcia Ward.
Second.
Okay, Marcia Ward has been nominated. Are there any others nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right. Thank you for that vote of confidence. I love telling people what their taxes are. Secretary, is that an elected, or is the auditor treasurer, sometimes the auditor treasurer is
He's
appointed,
elected,
but I mean, like the extension, the auditor treasurer holds a specific.
I think typically the auditor does clerk the board, however, I believe it's being taped and I think administration will take care of the actual minutes.
Okay, all right. So a secretary just needs to review and sign them. Okay, all right, all right. But we do need to appoint a secretary or elect a secretary.
I'll nominate Sandra Sukla.
Second.
We have a nomination and a second for Sandra Sukla. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Not all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. All right, Sandra, thank you. Item 3, property owners appeals. And John, any or? No, nobody.
No,
Okay.
we don't have any.
All right. Just a quick question. How many townships or small cities elected to hold their own, Board of Equalization Appeals, or did a lot of them turn it over to the county in total?
Last year, especially, a lot of them turned over to the county. I think we had about 20 that had meetings, and now we're down to 10. I know one of them wants it back. So next year we'll probably have 11, and probably next year, we did everything virtually this year.
Sure.
Next year, knock on wood, everything should probably be in person again next year.
Okay,
But at the moment, a lot of the townships and some of the smaller cities, my understanding, I don't think they want it back. That's
Okay.
my understanding at the moment.
okay, all right. So no appeals. So then moving on, item 4, review assessors 2021 report.
All right, well, welcome to a new era. But first off, I learned a lot from Steve, so he taught me a lot, so I hope to put the knowledge he gave me to everyone here and the public also. So, well, first up, we'll start off with the farmland. Tillable land, we made no change. Sales were pretty, very steady. As for like non-tillable land, woods, pasture land, that went up about $100. There's a stronger, last year we dropped it 250 from 3,250 to 3,000 an acre, and this year went up 3,100. Pretty much still, that type of land is still selling pretty well. As for houses, the good news is if you want to sell your house, you'll probably get what you want. Bad news is trying to find a place to live, trying to find a house. So that's going to be the difficult part. All my times here, I started this job in November of 2008. This is like the most we've ever raised for residential across the whole county. And so the base rate went from 122 to 128. Time adjustment was pretty big this year too, 7.4 in Winona market, and then the rest of the county was 6.3. All of our taxing districts that had 6 or more sales, we had at least our ratios in the end were qualified and good, and the Department of Revenue had no issues with what we did, and no recommendations were made. As for new houses, you see a little bit of a drop. We had 17, we had 87. Then you go to 18, we had 67, 19 to 55, and 20, we had 47. If I'm not mistaken, 26 of those houses were built in the country parts, not in the cities, and then the rest were built in the cities, either at St. Charles, Winona. I think those were the 2 really main ones that had new houses there. As you see, as so the pre-adjusted ratio, that was most of our ratios were in the very low 90s, and then with time adjustments that lowered it more. So that got us under the 90. And state law, we have to, it needs to be between 90 and 105. And so we obviously, that's why we had to raise a lot of things. And like I said, Department of Revenue, they approved everything, no issues there. Commercial, about 15 sales throughout countywide. Egg land, like I said, I'm not sure what the pre-adjustment was. I had difficulty finding that number, but it did. Like I said, the only thing we raised at egg land was just the pasture land and anything like that. So that 99.17 is probably pretty close to there. And then real bacon land, like I said, the woods is definitely, they're selling pretty well. Not so we raised that value a little bit. And as for local board meetings, really only had one person that attended. It was one of the Winona board meetings. So it was a Winona board meeting and made one change on that. Other than that, it was very quiet. We didn't get a whole lot of phone calls. Most of them were obviously on houses. People were a little bit concerned about their values, and some of them we adjusted, some of them we didn't. But people were like, but for the most part, it was a pretty quiet appeal season. And then the fun part, the tax court. Pretty much multiple years in all of them except for Shopko, that's a new one. And Edina Realty, that's a new one as well. At the moment, Walmart, that their case went to the state Supreme Court. That was in March. We should be getting an update. Should be hopefully any time now. So at the very worst, sometime late summer at the very worst. At the moment, as for negotiating wise, we're starting the beginning talks to talk to Hal Leonard and Badger. So that's pretty much the main thing, the 2 main ones that we got kind of our office is going to be working on. And that's pretty much all I got. And actually, I'm sorry, one last thing, then the valuation summaries. So as you can see, everything went up a little, total value wise, everything went up just under 5%. New construction went down 14.5%. Still a pretty good number though. I mean, I checked 2019 and that was 32 million. So we're still new construction it's going pretty strong. Like I said, egg land just like I said, that $100 of tillable land going up. That's the reason for the 1%. And real bacon, like I said, barely went up as well. And then residential, you see the big jump there going up 7%. And commercial industrial went up a little bit, and apartments is still selling pretty strong. pretty much throughout the county, so that's up almost 6%.
So I'm sorry, I'm not reading this right then. Under new construction, John, why we're up 57 million over 48, but why is it a negative 14%?
No, it's the opposite.
Is, yeah, in 2020, it was 57 million.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm reading it crossed. Okay,
Because the
I'm
idea
sorry,
was
it did
back
go,
in 19, it was
it did go
32
down.
million, so we're still,
Okay,
we still
it
have a
did
lot
go,
of pretty good construction
it
going
went
on.
down, okay, in 2021, all right. And that might go down more because of the COVID lack of materials and,
It's possible.
Yeah.
We do have some new stuff coming in. Like we just talked about, looks like a hotel's coming in, St. Charles,
St. Charles.
that should help. Burger King's coming into town.
yeah,
People are still doing a lot of home renovating going on too. At least siding wise, I think that's not too unreasonable. So I think a lot of home projects are at least being done.
yes, okay, all right. Any questions for John?
On these lawsuits, are they all the dark store theories or whatever?
Most of them use that, my understanding. Obviously, we had a dark store that sold for a lot of money a couple years ago. So that's kind of something that's in our hand at least. That's a little bit different from how Leonard and Bagger, they can't really use, that's a different story. That's obviously not a retail store, but Walmart, Goodwill, Shopko, Menards, that would fit in that dark story sale.
Fleet
when that-
Farm.
when that sold.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So to follow up with Commissioner Kavesi's, and when we're in tax court with these large corporations, is there a formula, like if they feel it's more than 5% or 10% over, they can go to tax court? Or if they feel it's $1 too much, they can go to tax court? Is there any parameters to set?
Tell me the process, how they do it, or just what their thought
Yeah, I
process
mean,
is?
what are we in court for? I mean,
We-
millions
first
of
off, we try-
dollars,
first off, we try to
millions of
avoid-
dollars,
we definitely
millions of
try-
dollars of difference in value,
No,
or
I was,
hundreds of dollars difference in value,
Um,
somewhere in between.
it could, Hal Leonard, they're looking probably close to $1 million in reduction, and we got an appraisal from them.
Uh-huh, okay,
So that they're asking for something like that, but that's obviously it's negotiable. Obviously, main thing is we want to try to avoid court. It's pretty expensive to do.
right,
Getting these appraisals for our end, it's very expensive to do. So we try to avoid that and try to get the best deal we can.
sure, okay.
And some of these, you never know, maybe someday we just feel like the Walmart one, that was probably worth for us going to court over, because eventually this has to end, hopefully.
So, and I know you're new to this whole situation and such, but it seems odd that the board is never involved if deciding if we go to court or not. It seems like it's the assessor that determines if we go to tax court?
Well, if there's an appeal, we have to,
You have to address it.
yeah, it's not like we're trying to lower their taxes. So it's motivated by them coming to us.
Uh-huh,
If the decision to go to court has to do with the value involved. So if you were talking hundreds of dollars, we wouldn't go to court. Come up with some solution. But when you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, you don't have a lot of choice.
yeah, but I think track record for counties hasn't always been, not just Winona County, counties in general is a broad statement, but I don't think counties win very often. It's
Well,
the feeling I get from general meetings with county commissioners.
That,
I
yeah,
might be wrong.
that happens. I think the key is what John said, is trying to negotiate a settlement. So they want to avoid court, you want to avoid court, and we get some relief, and then they get some relief. So that's kind of what you end up trying to do. So you really don't want to end up in court and because you are kind of rolling the dice.
Right, right. And these are not from the current year. These are probably a couple years old.
A lot of
Correct.
times they're
Yeah.
multiple year old.
And so you just keep rolling over to the next.
Well, a lot of times what
year.
happens is, you get
Or
a
you
2
get-
or 3 year agreement if you can, and say that's what we'll do for this, but then that might last a year or two, and then
You're right.
back to the table, yeah.
Okay. It doesn't seem to be a win-win situation. You can't make it a win-win situation.
It seems like it's almost advantageous for them to at least negotiate. Because they're gonna get something out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And the bigger places can afford the legal staff to,
Yeah.
Right,
legal
well,
They
yeah,
build
that's
it
a
in there.
different
expertise to come in. It
story.
doesn't take much to file the appeal. Doesn't take much to say, hey, we want a reduction, and then you're in the,
Right, when they have
discussion.
their own crew of lawyers, yeah,
especially the,
we're
the,
really,
Yeah.
the major brands.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
and
big,
if they're doing it multiple places.
yeah,
Absolutely.
which they
Yeah.
usually,
yeah, that's that dark store.
Well, and in some of those, I know Steve would try to, not necessarily coordinate, but see what other counties were doing
Mhm.
to see, so that you don't have one county giving in and then another county not. You want
Right.
to use the same rationale or methodology to try to establish a value.
I know it's a priority for the AMC General Government Committee to try and come to some, some standards, but it just hasn't happened, because just like you said, the big box stores have huge bankrolls to do their, court lawyering. So, Bob Baminick.
Marcia, I was, in meeting with Steve, and we had some discussion about this. And at that time, there seemed to be a lot of experienced attorneys waiting in line almost to represent the private industries, private businesses. But we did not have that level of expertise on the county side. There was one attorney that started doing some work for multiple counties, and there was a lot of interest taken in that party and that firm, just because that was probably the best we had going up until then.
Well, I guess we know we're not alone in this. Every
No,
No.
county that has any big box stores has the same situation. All right.
And then, finally, then the assessor's recommendation. We had three of them. So the first one on Huff Street, there was a fire there back in August. For some reason, I know we just missed it, and I noticed a big permit came for it to remodel, and as of January 2nd, the thing was basically a fire. But a lot of fire damage to it, so as of January 2nd, the thing was not worth $470,000. So walked through with the owner. He was very grateful about that. He obviously had other things on his mind. Calling the tax assessor wasn't his first thing on his mind when that happened. So he was very grateful for the walkthrough on that. So we reduced that to $283,700. The other one on 1336 Wabasha Avenue, there was a fire there back in December. I wasn't, I think Sheriff Brandon, I think, was one that brought it to my attention, and it was a little too late, because that was after the St. Charles board. So then I got a hold of the homeowner. We walked through it, and it's pretty much the house definitely has a lot of damage to it. So we lowered that value. Very great. He was very grateful for that as well. And then the last one, that's the old Madison School. For whatever reason, the permit was not in our system. It just got missed. And it was after the one on the board I noticed. Then I finally noticed that there was a lot of improvements done to it. People now living in there. So I got a hold of the owner, and we did a walk through the place. He gave me some good rough estimates, like what was done as of January 2nd. So this was so we got the value to there for now, and then the next year, then pretty much the building should be complete. So it should be at full value the following year.
On a big building like that, people don't own them, they're just renting apartments.
Correct,
They're not
yes.
condos or anything,
No,
No, that
21
just-
apartments. I
just
believe
a
are.
rental unit. So the owner would pay all the property taxes,
Correct.
not
Yes.
the individuals, okay. So,
Need a motion on that?
yeah, we need
Yes.
a motion to accept.
So moved.
Oh, second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Olson, second by Commissioner Meyer to accept the assessor's recommendations for the three properties, 529 Huff, 1336 Wabasha Avenue, St. Charles, and 515 West 7th Street, Winona. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay? Okay, that's approved. All right,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, anything else to come before this board tonight?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Olson, second by Commissioner Jacob to adjourn. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? We're adjourned. All right.
You've already
One
been,
of the commissioners would sign.
Oh, sure.
and obviously any questions